There's a new strategy on Twitter right now that's filling people's inboxes with inbound leads. And it's not sending thousands of cold DMs, it's not wasting money on paid ads, and it's not some secret growth hack that's going to stop working in the next 2 weeks. This is a strategy that's actively getting clients reaching out and asking to work with you. In fact, I've already used this exact strategy to generate over $150,000 in cash collected in a single month on X, as well as build an audience of over 150,000 followers, all for a single client. And across all of the accounts we manage, I'm sitting on over 10 billion impressions worth of data on what works and what doesn't. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire strategy step by step so you can use it to start getting clients on X, whether you're a software founder, a agency owner, a consultant, a fitness coach, or any other type of business. Okay, the number one thing you need to do to set a foundation to actually sign clients from X is actually have a profile that acts as a sales letter. So the most important thing when building a profile on X that's actually going to convert to inbound leads, into clients, into followers, is it needs to answer the 3-second credibility test. So what that is what you do, who you are, and what you've done that can actually back it up. So the most important thing I like to do is I always like to start with a header that actually shows the company or the business that you're trying to promote. It kind of shows that yes, you're a personal brand, but what you're really trying to do is get clients or get customers for your business. And it just really adds a level of seriousness. And I've split tested this with clients. I've tried having a bunch of family up there. I've tried having landscapes of where they live. I've tried a bunch of different things, but all reliable for this is always going to be just having your company logo. Then you want to come down to the profile picture. And I always recommend one of two things, either a professional headshot or a candid. And when I say a candid, I mean actually doing something like in the act of business or something that relates to what you're trying to sell. So for me specifically, I'm wearing my birdhouse hat and I'm speaking on stage. Before this, it was just a normal headshot with the birdhouse hat. And before that, it was a candid of me at a mastermind talking. So it's always going to be related to the business version of me. Next, in your actual headline, you want to say what you do and who you are. So for me, I'm the CEO at the Birdhouse and we build viral, profitable personal brands on X, LinkedIn, Instagram, and more. So that is going to be my headline across all of my social medias. But it's really important because it says what my current position is and what I'm doing and who I am, as well as what we actually sell to people right away. Then for me, and you can switch this up, you can put a VSL, you can put a newsletter. I personally put my email newsletter. It's really not that important, the link in the bio. People are smart enough, especially if you're selling to people who are a little bit more sophisticated. They're smart enough to click to my business page and click on our VSL website here to book a call, or go to my newsletter and go to the email, etc. But the real priority of building your profile is to drive people to your DMs, because this is where you can actually get people to have a conversation with you, build trust, and then convert to customers. And the last thing is actually backing up what everything else says. So for me, I always like to have two things in terms of social proof and credibility on my profile. Number one is going to be my pinned post, which for me, it's always going to be some kind of social proof, either a long form case study of one of our clients, a screenshot testimonial, a video testimonial, or most recently, only a couple weeks ago, I put up our Q1 stats. So Q1 2026 at the Birdhouse, we've done over 80,000 new followers on X, over 40,000 new followers on LinkedIn, about 1,600 sales calls between the two platforms, 16,000 leads, and over $1 million in cash collected for our clients. So for me, that is one of the highest credibility things I can do. It's recent, it's from this past quarter, and it's got big numbers about the service that we're selling. So I'm putting that as my pinned post. Now, so for example, we work with some clients that are like a fitness coach. We will pin up some sort of case study of someone that they worked with, like a before and after transformation. And that's another great way to do it. And then the second thing is you want to go to the highlights section. So people don't really know this, but if you want to add something to your highlights, you can do two things. Number one, when you pin a post, it's always going to automatically go to your highlights section. Or number two, you can click the top 3 dots here and just click add or remove from highlights. So if you go to my highlights section on my profile, it is literally a full on endless testimonial board. Everything here is a testimonial, social proof, behind the scenes. It's all there to sell our service more. So it's got just tons and tons and tons of results. And that's really what the highlights section needs to be about. It needs to sell your service even more. And it's a great way to have an additional layer to your profile that most people don't know exists. So now we get to the content engine, and the content engine on X is so much different than every other platform. And this is a strategy that's working today with the new Grok algorithm that I've talked about in other videos. But the most important thing when it comes to content is you need to have 5 different pillars and 3 different layers. So the 3 layers of content are going to be top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. The top of funnel, the entire goal is to cast a wide net to bring new people to your audience, to get more eyeballs so that you can convert them later with middle of funnel and bottom of funnel. Think of this as like brand awareness. Middle of funnel is there specifically specifically to nurture them and get them to move towards the bottom of funnel and ready to buy your service. Now, that's not to say that people in the top of funnel and the middle of funnel won't just convert straight to inbound leads, because I see it happen all the time where you put out a super viral piece of content, it gets 1 million, 5 million, 10 million views, and they immediately reach out for the service, which is totally fine. But the whole point is that that's not the only purpose. The purpose of this is to go viral, is to get reach. And in the middle of funnel, the same thing. The purpose of this is to nurture, and it's to get them to trust you. It's to start to build that authority and to build that loyalty as an audience member so that they are ready and primed for the bottom of funnel. And the bottom of funnel is going to almost always be either a call to action or a piece of social proof that has a call to action attached to it. And the entire goal of the bottom of the funnel is to get them to DM you, get them to book a call, get them to buy your thing. Now, within each of these 3 buckets or layers, top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel, there are different content pillars. Now, the content pillars I like to call the pesto pillars are personal, expertise, social proof, trending, and opinions. Personal content can be storytelling, it can be behind the scenes content, it can be anything about your life and your backstory and your past that supports your personal brand. And this is the most important part, because this is actually what's going to separate just an account or a regular brand or a company from a personal brand. And the whole point of a personal brand is to connect with your customers at a human level. I say this to a lot of our clients, but oftentimes a lot of the customers are buying because they see themselves in you, or they see a piece of your story that they can relate to. The next pillar is going to be expertise. This is going to be your vehicle breakdowns. This is going to be your listicles, your how-tos. It's going to be everything that kind of shows your stuff. If you're a software founder, this might look like a full article about how to use Claude with your software and how to integrate that into your day-to-day work. The third pillar is going to be social proof, and a lot of times this is going to fall into that bottom of funnel layer. Social proof is going to be your case studies, it's going to be your testimonials, it's going to be screenshots of clients saying they love their work with you, it's going to be results that your customers have gotten using your product or service. This is really going to be the bottom of funnel stuff that proves everything you're saying in the expertise driven content. Think of your expertise driven content as kind of like bragging, right? It's like, this is my stuff, this is what I know, this is what I can do. And then think of your social proof as kind of backing it up. I am who I say I am. I actually mean it. This is the results to prove it. Trending content is almost always going to be top of funnel content. This is how you capture a vast audience by latching onto things that have organic reach. And we'll talk about distribution a little bit later in this video, but trending content is one of the #1 ways to get free distribution on all social media platforms, but especially X. There was a recent statistic released by Nikita Beer, who is the head of product over at X, and it says that the active daily users on X is about 500 to 600 million, but when there's a major news event, that shoots up to over 1 billion active users, because people use X as a real-time news source. Anytime there's massive updates on politics, AI, business, stocks, anything about that stuff, people are running to X to get the latest and greatest information, and it has the fastest, essentially a stream of consciousness when it comes to keeping a pulse on the world. It's about 10 times faster than watching the news. So the point is that people are using the platform about 2 times as much when something like breaking news is happening. And what you can actually do is you can latch onto these kinds of keywords and use it in your content to get that natural distribution. A really great example of this is recently the Hermes agents have been blowing up in the AI world. And if you scroll through Twitter, you just look up Hermes agent, there's tons and tons of content and articles and tweets talking about Hermes agent and how it integrates into businesses. And this basically happens anytime there's a massive update in the tech or business or stock world. The most important thing when it comes to trends is understanding how to use trends in your favor. And the last of these 5 pillars is going to be opinions. Now, this one is really specific to X. I mean, you can do it on all social medias, but X is known for viral opinions. And what you're really doing with an opinion is that you are having a hot take in your industry about something, who knows, like for example, if you're a fitness coach and you're really against peptides, that would be a huge thing to jump onto right now, because all anyone can talk about are peptides, which is also a trending piece of content. And this is how you can kind of start combining these pillars. And what having a hot take or an opinion actually does is it draws a line in the sand, and it does one of 2 things. The audience who is reading that piece of content, reading that opinion, they are either going to agree with you and they're going to become a loyal member of your audience. They're going to get behind you. They're going to get into your army and they're going to click follow. Maybe they'll even become a lead, or they're going to disagree with you and they're going to engage with the content and they're going to let you know about it. So it's a win-win. No matter who reads it, they are going to do one thing that benefits you. Now, the caveat here is that you do not want to make hot takes or opinions just for the sake of it. You need to say stuff that you actually truly believe in, stuff that you really would stand by and almost like die on that hill. That's even a question we ask in our onboarding, is what's a hill you would die on? So the next piece of the strategy is how you actually get your content in front of people deliberately without just praying that the algorithm is going to pick it up. And that's distribution. This is not only getting your content discovered, but getting it discovered by the right people. And now there's a lot of ways to get distribution that range from $0 up to tens of thousands of dollars, which would be more like paid ads. On the $0 end of the spectrum, you have the reply guy strategy, and that's essentially going out, blitzing out 50, 100 replies in a day and trying to just get your name out there, which is a noble strategy that will work. But I know a lot of the people watching who are business owners do not have time for that. And on this end of the spectrum, you have paid ads. And now paid ads, the problem with them on X is that they just don't really work. And I know they are releasing a new ads manager just a couple of weeks ago. They're rolling it out now, and I will come out with an updated video if it's ever actually working. But in this video, I'm going to tell you what's working now in the middle of the spectrum that is actually effective. So number one is going to be your network. If you're a business owner and you have a network around you, you have friends, you have colleagues, maybe you're a software founder and you have a bunch of software founder friends who are also on X. The most important thing to know about X is that mutual followers are extremely important. When you click on somebody's profile, I'm just going to go to Elon Musk to show you an example. You can see every single person that you follow in common. So if I go to Elon Musk's profile, I can see that we have 382 mutual follows. So 382 people that I follow out of the 600 people I follow are following Elon Musk. Now, obviously Elon Musk, everyone knows who he is, but you can imagine if I go to a new profile and you are a agency owner and I might want to pay you for meta ads and you have no mutual followers with me, I'm instantly going to trust you much less. And this is the hidden secret about the mutual followers on X, is that your network is everything. So the number one thing you want to do when you start an X strategy is you want to get all of your friends and your colleagues to follow you. Not only that, you can ask them to boost up your content by reposting and quoting and going back and forth with replies and just creating a mini community. So the next distribution strategy that's really working right now is quote tweets. Now, quote tweets have their own integrated features into X that make them super, super powerful that just released. When you click on a post, you can actually click to view all of the quote tweets that post has gotten. And not only that, you can actually filter them from the top quote tweets to the most recent quote tweets. And you can kind of view it as its own mini little timeline. Now, something that I've noticed in the last 30 days is that quote tweets are some of the best organic reach pieces of content on X right now. So it's really important to start working these into your content. And you can do that in a couple of different ways. You can find tweets in your industry or from people above you in your industry and quote them with your reaction and your opinions and your thoughts, and add in all of the other pieces of layers of content and pillars of content into that and just use it to quote tweet somebody else in your industry. Additionally, you can quote your own stuff. You can actually quote your own tweets and it'll promote it back onto the timeline again. And this is another cool little trick that I've shared in another video as well. Now, another great thing that X just released is the paid partnership feature. And now this is more pay to play, but for a lot of the business owners watching, I know you are willing to allocate money to building up your X account. So you can actually run paid partnerships with big theme pages and media pages and brands, you name it, and they will actually quote your tweet, label it as a paid partnership, and you can use that to help grow the tweet or the article or whatever the actual format of the post is. So for example, here's an AI company, Interact AI, that recently just launched, and they did paid partnerships with a bunch of big accounts. Here's one, Liquidity, that quoted it, and they're really just putting a meme on top of it and quoting it, but just that quote tweet got 100,000 views, and 100,000 more people were able to see Interact AI's launch. And this launch has over 2 million views, and they've got a bunch of paid partnerships under here. You can see another one here, paid partnership, paid partnership. The price on this ranges a ton, and this is something we set up for our clients as well. But paid partnerships are a great pay to play way if you're a business that actually has money to invest in growing your brand. And I get asked all the time, is like, isn't that just fake? But I don't see it like that at all. Just like a billboard, you are paying a media brand or an influencer to help promote your piece of content, to promote your company, just like renting digital real estate. This is just the new age of advertising. And even if people are checking out your content now, they're seeing your profile, they're hitting the follow button, everyone knows that followers do not pay the bills. And this next step is what's actually going to help you turn attention into actual clients. And now this is the actual DM strategy. So there's a couple different ways to get people in your DMs that I highly recommend. Number one is going to be the most straightforward, and that's going to be the hand raiser tweet. And I have tons of examples of this on my profile, but this is straight up offering what you offer on the timeline to the audience that you brought in from the top of funnel, the middle of funnel content. They've been seeing a bunch of your tweets, they've followed you for a while, and every once in a while it's good to throw out a hand raiser tweet, which is literally asking people if they're interested in your service to shoot you a DM. So for For example, for me, that might be, hey, I'm looking for 1 or 2 software founders or business owners or fitness coaches or something along those lines. If you want to grow on X or LinkedIn, shoot me DM keyword Twitter or shoot me a DM and we can chat and see if it's a good fit. And this is by far the most straightforward bottom of funnel CTA that you can do. The second thing you can do is what's called an auto plug. And you can do this by automating it with a tool like Hypefury or any other tool on the internet. And what this is actually going to do is it's going to automatically plug something that you offer or something that you are trying to promote under your tweets, your threads, your articles after they hit a certain threshold of viewership or likes. So for example, you'll see under my tweets, anytime a tweet hits about 20 or 25 likes, which is a top 25% performer, it is automatically going to promote my newsletter. And the reason you want to do that is you don't want to promote it under every single post, which is why I only do it on the top 20 or 25% so that I'm only getting the most of my money when I actually promote it. But also what it does is it allows your piece of content to have some breathing room to grow organically before just throwing out an ask. Now, I don't really care. I don't mind selling every single day on the timeline, but I do understand that content performs better if it doesn't have a sell, or if at least the sell is a little bit more hidden. And the great thing about this is that you can create a piece of content with no intention of it actually driving in leads, but then it's going to add the CTA later, which will then drive into leads. So you're automatically going to be capitalizing on any piece of content that actually performs well. And the third thing you can do is a lead magnet. Now, a lead magnet is another really great thing that you can automate with a tool like Hypefury. And what this is going to allow you to do is create a piece of content that offers a lead magnet. So for example, I have these 44-page playbooks on how to grow on X. And what it does is that anyone who comments keyword playbook will get a DM automatically with that lead magnet. And attached to that lead magnet, I also say, by the way, if you're interested in my XYZ service, react to this message or reply with a certain keyword. And now it starts a sales conversation for a potential booked call for a client. And this has been one of the most powerful ways that we've been able to use lead magnets to not only grow email lists, but also to get inbound leads. And the fourth and final strategy, you don't have to do this. I don't do this as much anymore, but I do want to add it in here because it can be useful if you want to put a little bit more sweat equity. And that is going to be the new follower outbound DM. And that is anytime somebody follows you on Twitter, you immediately DM them and you say, hey, thanks for the follow. Were you following because you're interested in my service or are you just enjoying the content? And what you're doing is you're immediately getting some information about your followers. You're actually going to be able to learn about your target market. And on the off chance that they are interested in what you have to sell, you've already started that conversation. You can kind of get into qualifying them for a potential booked call. And this is another thing that once again can be automated. The most important reason that people actually fail on X is they quit right away or they can't stay consistent. Now, the reason a lot of people do this is because they're usually missing one of the 4 pieces. Their profile sucks, so it doesn't convert. Their content sucks, so nobody wants to read it. Their content's good and their profile is good, but they don't understand distribution. And then they just blame the algorithm and start hopping to all the new tactics, and then they quit and then they move on to a new platform. Or they have everything. They know how to go viral. They know how to build a following, but they make no money. So they have to leave and they have to change businesses, get a job, whatever, right? The most important thing is consistency at the end of the day. So I want to give you a little bit of a daily rhythm so that you can kind of understand the metrics that you should be looking for. The number one thing is going to start with followers. I don't really care about views too much. It's something that we track, but I don't even have it in our database because again, it's just not super important. The things you want to track are new followers, inbound leads, booked calls, and sales. Those are the 4 big metrics that we are going to be tracking. If you do paid, you obviously want to track cost per call, cost per lead, all that good stuff as well. Now, when it comes to a content cadence on X, after you've already set up all your automations, you have your DM strategy set, you have your profile set up, the only thing you really need to actually fuel this system is consistent content. And I recommend at least posting 3 times a day, and that could be all of the different kinds of formats, short form, long form, it could be threads, articles, video, basically anything goes on X. But the most important thing is to play to your strengths. And yes, it is time consuming, and that's why people pay a company like us to help them, but it is 100% worth it. And it's 100% the reason that 90% of people fail is they don't have the volume required to just keep up with the pace of X. X is by far the fastest paced platform in the game, which makes consistency that much more important. Now you have the full strategy, but the strategy only fully works if the algorithm's actually showing your content. And I just recorded an entire video about how you can dominate the new Grok algorithm so that your content actually gets the reach it deserves. I'll see you there.